is territory. Let's get to thoughts.
I think it's interesting. It's hard to judge a card building game off of one round, and especially
with a pre-built deck.
Pre-built deck in a special variant that is clearly not the main rules because it's built for more 1v1.
They mentioned part of what made them decide to have us cover this version of the game was that this version is the one that is apparently doing the best for them when they take it and demo it places.
I can imagine why. I mean, because 4-player card games are not as common. They usually one-on-one, and I like the 4-player card games. I don't know if I love this mode of the King of the Hill, but maybe this is all my first time I'm playing it. But like having like the guy that you're focusing on, but also like because I'm new to this, like we'll take out we all three spend our turns taking out your stuff, but then you put out new stuff right away. I'm like, so it's interesting. It's hard to judge, but I think it's got some interesting core mechanics and the abilities. It's always interesting when you play a card game. They're like, well, we can't call it this because another game calls it this. Right. Everyone's trying to be not Magic. Right. But it's got the elements. I don't know if it's not as good as Magic, but Magic's been around for 30 years and had plenty of time to do stuff.
I think starting with the good, I would say I was surprised at I had fun with this. Yeah, it was an entertaining game.
It did seem that there wasn't much of a theme to my deck, but it seemed like the factions have at least some.
There were some fun, surprising things in there.
Yeah, everybody had some cards that were like, what? That's amazing!
I was more interested in
that's fun.
The cards you were playing, because the cards you were playing were like all the pulling stuff out of your graveyard, and I was like, I would rather do that.
Which you would have thought would have been I was the underlings, all the black cards, the death-oriented stuff, and I didn't have any of that stuff.
I have no reference, I can't tell what these are supposed to be.
Yeah, I mean, I've got an Ice Bolt, the Raised Dead,
I seem to be pretty spell and card draw heavy, which I would have assumed these would be more like green in Magic and be like big creatures, but we are not big creatures. We have one big creature.
I only had one big creature too. I think there's not a lot of asymmetry in these decks. Yeah. In that sense, I think they're all kind of basically the same.
They do feel which and also it's a trading card game, so who knows if
it could be more that expands or something.
This is just the predetermined deck.
These were free. These were for suggested first time play decks.
But I do think that some clarification on rules would be nice.
I would say that this game is probably the most, or in the roughest, or the prototypiest state of anything that we have had on this table before. Mm. This game feels like it's early stages.
Yeah. I mean, and rules clarification is the
rule books are the hardest thing to make in board game design.
Especially in a complex trading card game. This is not an easy, because I've played we play other trading card games, and there are others that come out there it's like Magic but a little lighter. It's no, this is just
more complicated because it's got the adjacent. Yeah, if we're doing the actual adjacent.
We played the version we played was the easy version.
Yeah. There's a lot more.
And it was still very complex because there were still cards. I had that one card that we didn't.
Yeah.
I played it.
There's a lot of terminology to check on,
and there's nothing even that spells out on all of this information what it does.
Right.
But they definitely were went for a complex card game.
They did,
which I commend.
The concept of these little mats is cool. The artwork needs work. I don't know how cohesive the artwork is throughout the cards in the deck. I don't know if they have the rights to any of the artwork that's in this deck.
Yeah.
The artwork in the deck I actually like.
It is very nice artwork.
It's not cohesive. The art style is so much.
It's kind of all over the place from one card to another.
That's true.
We were talking about it before the show started. There's alignment issues with the card prints. Which again, if this is in a prototype state, whatever. You fix that stuff when you get to
Yeah,
mass production.
If I were buying a trading card games and like, because some of these cards are thinner than others and stuff like that. I forgive a lot of prototypes.
Forgive a lot of that, considering that it very much seems to be in a prototype state. I don't remember seeing any disclaimers on that with any of the stuff they sent us.
Yeah.
How big are these cards? They're poker sized.
Poker.
Yeah, they're poker sized cards.
Maybe,
but they are varying degrees of thickness and
some of
print
them are
quality
more standard card stock, and some of them are thinner.
And there's some of them are like aligned a little bit off centered.
Which that can all just be.
I like the concept of the mat though. The organization of it was nice to kind of tell me where to
I
put
agree.
stuff, and so that I know who's doing what, who's
Right.
sleeping, who's attacking.
I think the mats
that
need
was
to be a little
nice.
bigger since you can conceivably, like we all saw, you can fit 3 champions in a territory.
You could fit 5 if one.
If they're all
like,
ones, there's not enough room.
Depending on
Yeah,
how
on
you
these
build your
mats.
deck.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I also think that this whole mechanic of I don't have a champion card, but you know what I mean, like where you're like, okay, it comes
this
in
man a champion
fatigued.
card.
It comes in fatigued, and then there you go. It comes in fatigued on the red line, and then you move it up to the middle, and then when you attack, you move it up to the green line. That is so incremental. Those are like
I think
millimeters.
I think some of that
apart.
is just for you to, because in like Magic, for example, I play this card. It's got summoning resistance. It looks like all my other cards. It attacks. It's like that now. But But so the line.
I don't mind the concept of the lines. I just think they're a little too close together.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to tell where it's supposed to be.
Because it's so easy to like.
But
when
I
you're
think-
trying to slide stuff around.
I don't think it's like it has to be here. I think this is just a guide, like most play mats in the
sure.
effects. It's just a guide to. But yeah,
That'd mean I would have 5 left over because I get 1 for each destroyed. So 5 more damage. I'm gonna deal to Dust and Savage Dragon.
So I have 1 armor. So
It
that's
ignores
4.
armor.
What?
It says it.
That's. How much did that cost? Was that 2?
It's 3.
Okay, that's fine then.
And I get to draw a card because I did a spell cast. Ooh. I'm also going to cast this spell. Destroy a relic, but you gain no points from it. And now
I was thinking it anyway.
all my traps are hidden.
Sure they are, Kyle.
You don't remember what they do.
I don't give a I'm not attacking you.
The big, like, broad stroke criticism that I have for this game is I don't know who you're trying to sell it to.
yeah.
Because it's a trading card game. Most people who play trading card games have their trading card game. And they
I mean,
play.
People are always looking for new things to try.
I know people who play Magic, and that, like, you invite them over to board game night, and they get together with their Magic the Gathering buddy, and they just play Magic.
I mean,
But
if you-
maybe it's the people that suck at Magic though,
yeah.
that are really bad
This
at it.
feels harder than Magic, though.
But
doesn't
maybe
it?
they'll be
No?
maybe
Doesn't
they'll want
feel-
to try it.
I
you
wouldn't
know?
say-
maybe not harder, but more complicated.
It's certainly not more complicated than the Magic I play, but
Okay.
I just don't. It's different enough that it took me a second to figure out kind of play
Okay.
order and stuff like that. It's got a slightly similar play order, but slightly different. But also like the territory things is very different. Like in Magic, you don't have territories unless
You've got the land cards, which are just energy
yeah,
sources.
there are sometimes I think variants of Magic that have maybe slightly similar, but it's not the main mechanic. The territory mechanics is what I think is supposed to stand out. Is you're fighting over territory,
Right.
which I'd be interested to see what
How it plays different with 3 territories.
on
Moving
the one,
them around and
or
stuff.
moving them
the
around.
moving mechanic
Yeah,
and everything.
because the territories seem all right, not supremely powerful, but I'm curious about how that plays in
They
other
can change
games.
things, with
Yeah.
the different
Some
heroes
of them
out.
are actually pretty substantial though. Like
Yeah.
in the abilities, like you had 1 or 2 that were like that gave your champions quite a bit of ability. And
Yeah, I've got
I saw
one.
some
Like
that
I've got
were-
stuff that gives plus armor to all my guys, or that get it gives. It doesn't seem like insanely powerful. The territories. It's kind of interesting. They remind me somewhat of because you can attack them like planeswalkers in Magic, but then you can defend them like planeswalkers. And they give they're like enhancements that you defend. It's a really interesting sort of mechanic. I don't know how it plays. I'd have to play a lot more to know.
I
for sure.
I think it's going to have a tough time finding an audience because it's at least in its current state. Like I think cohesive artwork, and I don't know. The theme just feels very generic.
Yeah, there's nothing about the
Nothing
theme.
about this stands out and makes me like. If I look at this box, which I didn't bring it into the garage, but it's a plain white box with this logo on it.
Because all my guys,
nothing about this is gonna grab my attention.
all my guys are like forests,
the game
not
store.
elves. You know, they're like whatever. They're not technically elves.
Yeah, it's all
maybe,
just kind of bland, generic fantasy.
Yeah, it's like a generic fantasy character. So I don't see any.
And I think if you're trying to cut into a TCG market that is dominated by a fantasy TCG, that's tough. Like I think you wanna go for a different theme or something. I don't know. Honestly, I had this thought at one point. I would like to, now granted I'm not a TCG gamer, so maybe take this for what it's worth. I would like to see this restructured as a deck building card game instead of a TCG, something where there's a marketplace and you get to shop for your cards to build your deck as you play.
Yeah, but then it's a deck. It's very.
Then it's a completely different kind of game.
I love deck building games,
and I love deck building.
But that's a very.
I don't
game.
love TCGs, so that's.
You're like, what if they made a different?
What if they made a completely different game?
Yeah. I don't know. I like. In terms of trading card games, I play the one, and I don't even play standard Magic. I just play Commander. So I don't know. Like I wouldn't get another. Like I have a copy of another TCRPG that I bought once that I've not gotten even a chance to play because like I rarely get to play Commander, so I don't know.
Right.
But there's perhaps, I mean, if you're playing a lot or you want to try something different, I don't know how much a box of this, like the box.
I don't know what it's going to cost. I think this is still very early stages.
Yeah, it's still but it's interesting. It's certainly they're certainly going hard, which I respect. That they're not like we're going to try and easy. It's like no, we're just going to do a full trading card game, which I respect.
Yeah, I think before you send it out to reviewers, though, you need to get a little further along in the production process. I think personally, a little bit more polished final product
For sure.
and that rule book is dense. That's tough to parse.
Yeah.
A lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
Which
And we
I mean,
watched the video too.
It's a complicated game. Yeah, the video
it is a
helped.
lot.
The video helped, but it didn't cover everything.
Yeah, one of the things I don't think we
And
talked
that video
about.
is also in rough shape. 'Cause,
There are
like AI voiceover and.
There are 4 of these cards that are ability like quick like glossaries.
Why are these not double-sided?
Yeah, these glossaries. These are not 4 of the same card.
These are all
4 different
Yeah.
glossaries plus the turn order.
Yeah.
Even just
These should
having,
be-
even just numbering
This.
this would be nice.
Right.
Of like, just so we know
But
when
also
the end is.
the fact that there are 4 cards worth of abilities is
is a lot.
There's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot of information to
so
parse
there's a
to
lot.
learn this game.
It's hard to surmise that into simple things.
Right. Which.
Especially when you haven't had 30 years to figure it all
Right.
out. So my spell eater's hitting you for 9.
Did you cast any spells?
Not this turn.
Son of a-
How's he know? What's his thing?
He's-
For your discard.
For spell for
That
fewer
guy.
spells in my discard.
Eric's just building that thing up so we can come in and
Yeah,
one
of course. Man, why wouldn't I do that?
I mean, that's brilliant. I'm just calling it out so
7.
everybody knows what you're doing.
It did surprise me. It wasn't. I felt like this game, like opening up the box, I was like, "Ooh, this is in rough shape. I don't know how well this is gonna go." When we played it,
Danica has an interesting point there.
thought it was a deck builder for a hot second. Knowing it's a TCG, I do love the idea of 4-player. It gives so much room for hinge points when everything changes in play. I do like that. Like Eric touched on it, the concept of the king giving everybody a central target that can change throughout the game. I think kind of makes being able to play this with more than 2 people.
I kind of don't love the King of the Hill style version because but maybe that's part of it is I haven't played it's like that last turn was the only turn where I didn't attack a king because I was like, well, I'm my best
Just trying to get points,
I'm just trying to get points. So some of that it may just be me, Monday morning quarterbacking myself, but yeah,
Maybe.
I didn't love that because you had it for so long, and I'd be like, okay, I'll attack you full out. I didn't do enough. Paul will do it. He didn't do enough. You heal full. Kyle will do it. I'll do it. Paul did it this time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was the ganging up really but again, that's also an instance of like, it didn't. If somebody were to really put effort into this game and build their deck in the way that they want, then those things could really be handled. But I feel like because it was our first time, we were all just kind of like, all right, we're gonna attack you.
Yeah, this is the deck.
Oh, that didn't do. Like, you know, we didn't know that that wouldn't do shit.
It's our first play,
Like,
so we're all figuring out what all these different cards do.
But that's the thing. I think some of them were so lopsided. Like my guy was like a tank.
Yeah.
That like once I got him, I was like nobody could destroy him, and then Dustin had that one card that just like screwed everything. Granted, like I mean that there's an aspect of that that's fun, but it was also very very unpredictable strategy wise,
especially for a first play with pre-built decks.
I had that card that did 3 damage to all champions, and I did that like on my first or second turn, and I was like, oh, my guys probably have a bunch of spells, and I was like, oh, that's the only copy of anything like that in my deck. Damn it!
It was been useful later.
Yeah.
I think overall, I'd say it's an interesting concept. I think it just needs a hook of some sort.
That'd be nice.
Something that sets it apart a little bit more.
One thing I did really like was this big ass dice. And it's so big.
And one thing I really wanted to do was just roll
all of these
and have it,
which are all just
because
counters.
that was so unfulfilling because none of these
mean anything. So that is Territory, the card game, available at territorycg.com. I don't know if it's available, but you can find information for it there. Hey, thanks for hanging out. If you want to spend more time with us, do us a favor. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and most importantly, head on over to twitch.tv/BNB Tabletop and give us a follow there. We play board games live every Sunday night at 5 p.m. Pacific Time on a show we call The Board and Barrel. And we like to keep things interactive. You guys can influence what happens throughout the course of a game with our Buff and Nerf house rules. You can also make predictions on how things are going to pan out, play virtual bingo for a chance to win a free board game of your own, and heckle us and stuff from the chat. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you Sunday night.